Jai Hind to all of you. So in this lecture, we will be going to study about industrial automation control. Let us try to understand what actually industrial automation is. Through the slides, through the upcoming slides, we would be getting an idea what actually the industrial automation is, how industrial automation is playing its vital role in the manufacturing industry, what are the advantages, disadvantages we should follow while opting this particular technology. Before we move on to further slides, let us try to understand before actually the automation was implemented, how the industrial operations was being conducted. In the image inset, we can see that a group of person is responsible for maintaining the production continuously. Now, this operation has been replaced by sophisticated machines, wherein persons are now not responsible for doing the operation, but they are now responsible for viewing the operation, how it is being controlled. Now the requirement of person is not for proceeding the operation, but they are now more responsible for viewing the operation, whether it is being completed in the right way or in the right manner. Now we can formulate, or we can summarize that the automation is actually the integration of machines which has been which are being used to replace human labors. Now we are saying human labors because all the operations earlier in the initial stages of automation, industrial automation and or industrial revolution, is being done with the help of humans. With the help of these humans, we were controlling the power machines. So automation has just replaced or has reduced the involvement of humans in any industrial application. Okay. Now, if we talk about the complete overview of automation, we can see that it is not just the use of machines, it is actually the integration of all the advanced machines by governing the systems into the integration manner, or we can say that when we are making the human life more sophisticated or more easier by including more intelligent machines. The term automation, if we say that how the automation word has been evolved, we if we go back into the research areas, where the term automation is actually the term which has been coined by the DS, one of the engineer from the Ford Automation Company or Ford Motor Company, DS Harder. He coined the term in 1949, saying that the machines can be controlled with the help of some controllers, and then it was all named in the term of automation. So why we are actually going for automation? We can see that the automation is basically giving some advantages to us. We need some reasons to justify why we are shifting from one form of work process which is actually giving the satisfaction of work. Now when we say that the industries are need to be at par with the production requirement or the desired requirement of the market, then we need to increase the existing infrastructure. We need to upgrade those existing infrastructure with some machines, and certainly this will lead to the increased productivity. Now the productivity of any industry can only be increased when more human resources involved out there, which means more cost to the manufacturing of particular item will be increased. Now to overcome this particular increase in the cost, we have some machines which has been replaced the humans to increase the productivity. Now when we say that the increase in production was done by increasing the human labors, which in turn has increased the labor cost can be decreased by the use of these machines. Apart from that, apart from this increased productivity, we can say that whenever the machines are involved, there is a requirement of some skilled laborers who can control or who can overview that particular machines. Now to overcome this effect, we have smart machines. Okay, this can reduce the since we are talking about smart machines, which means the data can be logged from these machines, informing or getting the information related to the production, to the outage time, to the downtime, can be helpful in maintaining the daily activities, which in turn will reduce the effect or will reduce the efforts of some clerical tasks. Whereas when we talk about the machines involving, the safety of the workers are also ensured by using the automation. This not only improves the safety of the worker, but it also improves the quality of the product which is being manufactured using any machine or the sophisticated machines. When we are using some sort of intelligent devices where we are having actual time of controlling, where we are having actual sort of operation being done, then the manufacturing lead time gets reduced. So there are some reasons, there is one of the most prominent reason that whatever the task which we do manually can be accomplished by using these machines. When we talk about the automation which we are having in industries nowadays is not a result of a night or is of a day or is of a month, but that actually has taken some decades, some centuries to evolve what we are having today. Going back to the time, we can say that when the machines first used into the industries, we call that as an industrial revolution. We can say that with the invention of some mechanical machines or the mechanization, we were witnessing the first form of industrial revolution, which was termed as industry 1.0, where the steam power was generated, it was invented, and this steam power was mainly used in the cloth industries, weaving loom, handloom industries. So there this mechanization with the use of steam power not only helped industries, but then also lead some positive changes in the transportation. We witnessed the steam engines on railway tracks. Then we found that it is one of the greatest revolution that the transportation came into existence, which helped reducing the distance from the countries, in the countries itself, within the cities itself, or in the towns itself. When then after mechanization, we invented electricity. Therein electrical energy came into existence. With the use of electrical energy, with the use of electrical motors, we developed assembly lines. With these assembly lines then lead to the mass production, where we were having more operations performed on a single line of operation, on a single line of industries. Then this particular era was termed as industry 2.0, wherein we says that this was somewhat in the 18th century till and lies to 19th century. During the Cold War era, where the some of the big powers was having resistance between them, they get a competition. They generated a competition of developing some smart electronic chips or computer integrated chips. Then there came the era where computers were developed, electronics were getting their recognitions. Then these computers did also find their roles not only in the corporate offices, but then in the industries itself. All these machines which were mechanized, then they were integrated with electrical energy, now were capable enough to get communicated or get integrated with computer systems. Then when these motors were being controlled intelligently using computers or using the electrical chips or the electronics chips, in this was termed as industry revolution 3.0, where one of the greatest product of this particular era, which is responsible for leading this particular revolution, was due to the development of programmable logic controllers. Now these programmable logic controllers were capable enough to get programmed again and again, so that a series of operation can be performed regularly. Now when these computer systems, since we are using these computer systems, there was a need developed when the electrical when the wireless communication was developed in the form of internet, ethernet. Then we led to the integration of the two computers. These two computers, when integrated, or when the two machines communicated with each other related to their operation, related to the signals given to the initiation of new operation, led to the formation of industry 4.0. Now what we are doing presently is actually the industry 4.0. We have not yet achieved the complete integration of industry 4.0. We can say that in India or in some part of the world, we are still striving to get implement about industry 3.0. Since robot came into existence in industry 3.0, which are now being integrated with internet, then this particular industry 4.0 has been given the recognition of IoT or wireless communication or Internet of Things. Okay. So when we talk about evolution, we are not only talking about the revolution, but then the revolution has always been led by a development of technology and its integration with particular device. We says that the mechanization was done with the help of steam power. Then with the help of the invention of electrical power, there was some smart components which actually led to the correct implementation. We says relays was developed at that time in association with electrical motors. Then the in third industrial revolution, digital electronic took place. It made the what we can say is the integration part very easier with the help of the robots or integrated modes or modern type of controller systems, which made their implementation very easy due to the implementation or due to the reprogramming ability of those controllers. Since earlier all these reprogramming was not actually an easy part due to the involvement of hardware system, as there was relays involved into it. Physical structures was more complicated as we go for more logic operation. This revolution of 3.0 made the dream true for batch productions, where we can have a series of operations in integrated part, like one batch in any particular beverage industry can be of certain size, certain volume. The other batch can be of another volume or another size. Now in when we say that the internet was developed in the late 19th in the late 20th century, we says that it was the marvel that has become to the to make the use of intelligent sensors. We were using more technologies related to wireless, when we are saying that there is less requirement of a wires or there is wireless requirement. We were doing cloud computing, and then artificial intelligence was actually came into existence, and we are still working more into this artificial intelligence just because of internet, power of internet. When we say that machine learning is becoming more prominent for implementing the industrial revolutions or industrial automations. Okay. So in this slide we can try to understand that what are the different types of automation we are actually using. See, for a common man or for a layman man, when we say what is automation is, now as a student, if I am not more exposed towards the industry side, then I find out that when I am implementing automatic on and off of light in my house, automatic open and close of doors in my entrance of my compound, automatic working of any electric any component or any gadget, is termed as home automation for me. In the upcoming slides, we will understand how home automation is actually imagined, how this is portrayed, what are the basic components which leads to the implementation of home automation. Let us take an example of microcontrollers. We know that microcontrollers can be reprogrammed, but they have certain limitations. Now these limitations is related to humidity, environmental constraints, repeatability constraints, speed of accessing or speed of responding has been overcome in industrial automation, where we are using more microprocessor based equipments. We are having more complex operations and large operations there. So if I talk about types of automation, we have home automation or building automation, when we are using in our domestic applications related to household activities. When I am using automation in industries related particularly to the process automation or discrete automation, then I have this another form of industrial automation, where I am using microprocessor to perform my complex and large operations. Okay. In the next here we can see that what are the basic elements, what are the basic components which are related to the home automation. Let us take an example. Are all computer systems, are all washing machines. When we say that we have programmed the washing machines to work in a certain time frame, to rotate, to work for certain cycles, these washing machines are actually then termed as home automation. We have refrigerators, where we says that the smart cooling has come to preserve our food products. We have we have ovens therein which are responsible, which can communicate over the mobile phones, that without actually getting physically involved in the operation of these microwave ovens, we can control them with the help of some apps related to in the mobile phone itself. Nowadays we have some smart gadgets wherein which can be controlled with the help of our voice commands to control all the lights or all the operation of electrical fans or something things related to those things. So they all come into the category of home automation. When we say this particular home automation, how it can be implemented into a building site is, we can take an example of any particular building. When we say that the security or the safety of particular building has been ensured by the use of burglar sensors, burglar alarms, therein we says that the home automation is applied over there. Nowadays we have witnessed many buildings having green culture over there. Green culture means the light intensity getting in the buildings or in the offices can be controlled by controlling the winds, by the wind, by the blinds or the curtains, wherein to maintain the right light intensity over there. Now to control that particular light intensity, we are using some smart sensor over there, like that in a daytime we need less light to work upon, whereas in the late evenings or when it approaches to the evening, we are in a requirement of more lights, so that these lights can be on and off depending upon the requirements. Likely we can control the temperature of a room by controlling the speed of a fan depending upon the input that has been generated by the sensors. Okay. So this is what we are having in under automation, which is in particular home automation. When we say there is another form of automation in the industries, we have process automation. When we are controlling the discrete parts, when we are controlling the discrete parts, then we can say discrete manufacturing or the discrete manufacturing automation there. Now discrete manufacturing automation, the word itself justifies that there is separated parts. So in discrete manufacturing automation, we have numbers to be controlled. Let me take an example of any motorcycle manufacturing, any car manufacturing unit, where we are calculating the output in the form of numbers. Whenever car gets manufactured, we says that in an hour we are capable of developing 50 cars, let us say 100 cars. So all these are calculated in form of numbers. Whereas in process industries, when we are controlling the volumes or we are controlling the operations depending upon the amount of a material, like liters, we are controlling the so these can be, this can be your liquids, this can be your gases, this can be your powder. So this all is known as process industries. This is mainly the beverage industries or the food industries where we are using automation. Now if we try to understand the evolution of automation, now after the types of automation depending upon the process, we can now have the technologies which are actually playing a vital role in implementing of the automation. Like when we are using the automation for developing certain fixed type of products only. Let us take an example of a soap where we are having less design features available, and we are more constant about having more number of products to be developed. This particular technology is referred to as fixed automation. In this particular the graph, we can say that if we compare it in the variation of a design and the quantity of a product, we says that in fixed automation we can have larger number of products developed as compared to the variation in the design. Whereas in the another form which is now came into existence is programmable automation, wherein we can have lot of variation in the design, but the operation leads to less productivity. So coming up to the present scenario where the customers are more in demand of having the features related to the design, as well as not the patience to wait for the product. So for industries where we are having mixed combination of programmable automation and the fixed automation, we termed it as a flexible automation. Therein flexible automation has the qualities of programmable automation related to the design facilities or the features, and in case of fixed automation, we are here, this flexible automation is capable of giving this is sufficient amount of a sufficient number of products developed. Now getting involved into this particular automation, when we say that the fixed automation was developed, we say that this particular automation was related to the implementation of hardware. In this, when we are getting hardware related things, we call it as hard automation, since our hardware or since our automation is related or morely dependent upon the machines or the hard machines. The operation is actually the fixed sequence operation, where we are having the involvement of some linear actuation or some rotary actuations, where in linear actuations we say that when operation is carried out along the axis, along the line of operation, then we have certain features related to this particular automation, like the investment was initially lower, since we are having only the basic machines. These basic machines, when performing the series of operation in a lead to the high output. They were some great features in the form of single part, when there is no variations related to them, but then at the same time we were facing some sort of this disadvantages as well, since we since the machines when implemented, they are liable to perform the operation in a single way only. Then this led to the disadvantage of a fact that we cannot have the process changes every time. If we need to change the process, if there is any design variation, the whole setup is need to be changed, which resulted into the expensive part, or at times it becomes very much impossible for us to convert the whole assembly or the whole setup. In flexible automation, wherein we are having some smart machines which can be controlled or which can be reprogrammed using the softwares, then we named this particular automation as a soft automation. Typically we said that the mechanical part was controlled with the help of electrical signals, with the help of some electronics devices. Then this particular setup was also known as electromechanical motion. Here we are extensively using electronic devices, the programmable devices. Then we named this as programmable automation. We were using more of the programmable automation. If we talk about the advantages, we says that we have the reach and we have the liabilities for the machines to be working in any particular condition. Then the downtime was reduced. We says it has a minimal downtime. The feature of software automation has related or has resulted us into the multiple product or the multiple processes at that time. We can say that the cost ownership is compared to the fixed automation is typically very effective as compared to the programmable automation. When we say the programmable automation, wherein the program changes were very much over there, since we can change the programs depending upon the desires, then the manual changeover was provided in this programmable automation. When we talk about the advantages, the flexibility or the moderate flexibility say means there was the facilities to change the product at any cost of a time or at any point of a time. This has led to the infrequent batch production change or batch style production. Now when we say that in the programmable condition or in the programmable automation, the program or the operation can be changed every time depending on the requirement. This led to the downtime. So this is one of the highest advantage, or we say that when the machines which can be programmed or which can be changed continuously or at any point of a time, this has led to the higher investment cost or the high initial investment cost. Okay. So comparing all these three categories of automation, we says that there was low cost in the fixed automation, whereas in programmable automation we were more getting benefits in the terms of sequence of operations. But in the case of flexible automation, the advantage is like that sequences can be changed at any point of a time. Now if we talk about a common disadvantage is that the fixed automation was expensive, not in the form of operation but in the form of any changes during the course of a time. whereas in programmable automation we were doing more programming, we were doing more sequence operation at that time. Okay, where these are some of the three basic categories of automation which we were talking about. Now let us take an example, a basic example how automatic operation is being done. Like if you talk about a particular room, or if you talk about any industry wherein the task of measuring the temperature or measuring the humidity has been given to an engineer. So what earlier we were doing, we were having some analog devices available to us, like a thermometer was being used to measure the temperature. Now with the advancement of a technology, with the advancement of the manufacturing devices, now these analog temperature measurement devices has been replaced by the digital devices. Now we know that the sensor values can be measured at any point of a time from distance, as well as the values can be portrayed on a on a devices that is far away from the real application area. Now taking the sensor as an input, what the person or what the concerned engineer was doing, he was actually calculating the process, whether to observe the operation or to initiate a particular operation. So here this includes the involvement of a human, this includes the involvement of human brain. With the advancement in the electronics, then there was some controllers, or we can say some smart computer systems which has been dedicatedly developed for industrial operations came into existence. Now depending upon the input provided by the sensor, depending upon the program that has been fed by the programmer, there is a next process which is actuation or the action. So if we says that in a post automation era, the temperature was being measured by the humans, the operation was being compared depending upon the programs which has been generated manually, and then the action was performed. Now this action has been replaced by the actuators. So actuators are actually the devices which do the action part, or which does the operation to be initiated or operation to be performed. Okay. So we says how the we design the whole control architecture for any operation to be performed. There is a series of, or there is a plan which need to be done. First of all, we need to sense the operation, whether the right time has arrived to initiate any actuation. All this is requires second step, in which involves planning. After having the planning, or after having the plan, then the act part comes into an action. So we can say the whole control architecture is all related to the sense, plan and act, and these three steps are the basic necessities or leads to the implementation of automation. So industrial sensors, when we are talking about automation, so there are numbers of industrial sensor, like for measuring the temperature we have different sensor, for measuring the humidity we have different sensors, for controlling the windows operation we have different sensors, for controlling the gas and fire we have different sensors. So these are the industrial sensors which works as a device to provide input, and then this input is being controlled, or is being compared with the industrial controllers, programmable automation controllers, and or the programmable logic controllers. The output from these controllers which is being compared are then put to the next level, which is known as act level or the actuation level. So herein we are having three basic type of actuating systems or actuators. The first lies as mechanical actuators, where the example can be related to the riding of a bicycle. So when a person steps the pedal, the motion is then transferred with the help of the chain, which is a mechanical part related to or in integration with the pedal. So this particular mechanical motion leads to the operation. The another second form can be related to the electrical, wherein electrical motors using the electricity generating the rotary motion, which again have some limitations associated with this, like linear motion to accomplish. We need to change the operation of rotary motion by implementing some conveyors or some sophisticated motors over there. Now this particular limitation was then overcome by the use of fluid power, wherein fluid powers we are having wherein fluid powers we are having some gases or some pressurized liquids or some form of pressurized oil. So when we say that the compressed air or the compressed gases was done, then this led to the name of invention of term pneumatics. So we can say that the fluid part or the fluid form of mechanism is actually consisting of pneumatics and hydraulics as a actuator part. When we try to understand how this automation is actually taking place in any car manufacturing unit. So here in the picture inset we can say that the assembly line of any car unit is being done. So we can see that if a person is having any operation on a particular model of the production line, the consecutive following vehicle or this vehicle gets stopped at a safe distance just because of a sensor, just because with the help of a sensor. Okay, so we can say that if there is any useful energy or useful input that has been sensed by a device, then this sensor comes, or this is termed as a sensor. So these sensors are actually nothing but then they are the electronic devices which are converting the values which has been measured into a measurable device or a measurable quantity, which can be your electrical, or it can be your electrical or related to the voltage or current form. Okay. So these sensors find their application in almost all the operation of industries, like for measuring the level of the beverage that has been filled in a bottle. If we are in any gas industries, measuring the pressure. If we are in any petroleum industry, then we are sensing what is the flow rate or how much amount of fluid has been passed to the customers, or we can say that what is the level of the fluid that has been stored in an overhead tank, also comes into the action, or also comes into the categorization of a sensors element in an industrial application. Now when we say that what are the different types of sensors which we are used, so we have tried to make you understand that there are some basic sensors like tactile sensors, proximity sensors, or some optical sensors. Before we move on to this particular slide, let us discuss that there are two basic sort of sensors when we talk about. The first one is your physical sensors, wherein the sensing is done not only is done just with the physical contact. Let me take an example of weighing, measuring the weight. So the weight is cannot be measured unless you don't get stand, or unless you don't get in contact with that particular weighing machine. So therein when you are in physical contact with particular device, you call it as you termed them in the category of physical sensors. So one category is physical sensors, the other category is proximity sensor, wherein we have the measurement in the proximity, in the vicinity. So we call them as proximity sensors. So capacitive sensor, inductive sensor, optical sensor, they all lies in these proximity sensors. Okay. So sensor type can be your vision type. There can be some miscellaneous categories which can be used in series of, or in the variety of industrial applications. Okay. Now as if we have discussed about the basic element of sensing part, then comes the controlling part, the controllers. In industries or in any form of operation, we have two different types of controller. The first one is your embedded controller, the other one is your industrial controllers. These embedded controllers find their role or their application in household activities or household devices like air conditioners, refrigerators, wherein continuous or wherein repetitive task is performed continuously. Like in an oven, we only have to set the temperature at particular level, and that temperature is controlled or is categorized every time on the same part only. Whereas in industries, we have every time we have the change in operation. So these operations are then categorized as in the programmable logic controller, the PC based controllers, or we can have PID or PD based controllers. Okay, so again again these controllers are categorized in different forms. Okay. So talking about the embedded controllers, as we have already discussed, these are the devices which we are using in our daily life. They find their application related to the consumer electronic devices, where we are being offered more functionality, where the efficiency has been increased in terms of usage factor, and then the features, they are being provided with more features, like if any iPod or any music recording device you use, so you can increase or decrease the volume, you can change the track where whatever you want to listen, depending upon your choice. Okay. So now comes to the action part, which is the most important third part, this apart from sense, plan and act. So therein we have electrical actuation system, we have mechanical actuation system, we have fluid based mechanical system. Apart from these three actuation system, we have electromechanical, all the mechanical parts are being moved with the help of electrical signals. Then taking the example of this electromechanical, we have robots which are actually implementing the electromechanical operation or electromechanical part. Okay. So so if you talk about the types of motors, there in electrical actuators, we have DC servo motors, we have AC motors, we have stepper motors, and also we have solenoids which are performing upon the electrical signals received from the sensors or receiving from the devices itself. Then we talk about fluid actuators, wherein we have hydraulic actuation system. So in hydraulic, if we talk about hydraulic actuation system, therein we are having pressurized liquid which leads to the operation. And if we talk about pneumatic actuators, therein we are having compressed air technology which leads to the operation, or which leads to the force actuation system. So these were the basic the actuation systems. Now if we compare the actuation system in the form of electrical, in the form of hydraulic and in the form of pneumatics, take into the consideration of some of the parameters, like in energy source. If you take energy source, then in electricals we have flow of electrons, whereas in hydraulics we have flow of fluid, whereas in pneumatics I am having compressed air or compressed gases. If we talk about parameter related to the storage, in electrical we have batteries as a devices wherein we can store the energy, but in case of hydraulics we have limited source of storage activity over there, that is accumulators, which can perform the operation for a series of for a series of cycles only, for a number of cycles only. But in pneumatics you can have a reservoir in the name of tank, which actually offers good storage performance of any energy. Now when we talk about energy cost, in electrical we have lowest, but then in hydraulics I am having a medium benefit in the term of since I cannot store energy, then the cost incurred in generating the particular pressure or force using hydraulics is medium as compared to pneumatics. Okay, since we are in pneumatics, to maintain the desired pressure, the motor or the compressor unit has to be operated over time, has to be operated regularly. Whereas in rotary actuator, whereas in the actuation part is considered whether it is rotary or whether it is linear, electricals find their benefits in terms of rotary actuation system as compared to hydraulics or as compared to pneumatics. Whereas in linear actuators we find more side tilting towards hydraulics and pneumatics, since the flow of fluid or flow of gases is basically responsible for the movement of actuators in the forward direction or in the reverse direction, that is in retracted direction. The working speed in case of electrical is medium, whereas in hydraulics it is very low, but in case of a pneumatic it is very high. Okay. Now power to weight ratio in compared to electricals, it is fair. In hydraulics it is good, and in form of pneumatic it is very good, okay, or good we can say. But when we apply the automation, we say that there is a certain form of implementation, like this implementation of automation when done in a systematic way is known as automation pyramid. This is one of the complex part which we try to understand, which we understands as a that automation when implemented into the field devices. This is known as field level. When the automation is implemented in any cell or in any production cell, this is known as cell automation, or it is known as individual machines, or it is known as machine level. At times it is also known as control level. But then when the group of machines are controlled, or group of machines are categorized under the automation, this is known as cell type of automation, or system level of automation. Okay. So when we say that there are group of machines working together, there is a condition when all these machines in the form in the groups are controlled or are implemented in any vicinity or in any environment, then it is known as plant level automation, wherein the flow of data taking exchanging into the upper level is known as enterprise level. So we can say that an example of enterprise level is the corporate information, like the plannings is being done with the board of members. So whenever the critical information or all the information is required, then this is known as enterprise level of automation. Okay. So summarizing the advantages of all the technologies which we use to implement the automation is, we can say that when we are using automation, the productivity of the environment of productivity of a product or the machine is improved. We says since the productivity is improved, we are using more sophisticated machines, then quality of particular product also gets improved. Using of programmable devices, machines over the course of a time enhances the flexibility to change operation at any point of a time. When we are saying that the labor cost is reduced, we are getting more productivity, then the operation cost gets reduced, and we become more capable to get ourselves recognized in the competitive environment. Now since we says that the information is getting more relevant to know what product is being developed and how much product can be developed over a course of a time, so this information gathering has become more easy related to the automation. So this has also categorized as one of the best advantages. Since the program or the automation has been implemented in closed environment using machines, wherein we can apply the security. So the level of automation when introduced into the machines or into the industries, the operation can be termed as a secured automation, or the security can be ensured over there. So this was all about the automation. So we can get more connect about the actuators and other part in the next slides.